Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today is a very exciting day. We have a really good opportunity to do a first drive in our bus, but there's a few things we have to do first. We've got to replace our water pump, and it's still visibly leaking, which is fantastic. But we did have a new one on our old engine, and that was a huge disaster from last episode. So if you have not seen that, make sure you do that. But we're going to transfer the water pump over to this engine. We're also going to move over a couple of the idle pulleys. I think we'll do that as well. We're going to do an oil change on this thing because who knows how old the oil is in here. We also have to attach our clutch cable, our accelerator cable, and we've also got to add the gear oil to our transmission. We've also got to attach our CV axles. So this is a long list of things that we've got to get done before we can hit the road today. Now it's about 12:30 in the afternoon. I'd really like to hit the road before it's dark. Now we're not going to go super far. We're going to go like down the driveway and back, or down the cul-de-sac and back, and that's about it, just to say we drove it. Oh, we've also got to attach our transmission linkage. You know, that might help us go somewhere. So we've got to do that as well. Again, super long list, but first things first, let's jump in it. Let's get that water pump fixed. That way we can start attaching our exhaust and all that stuff, which is also something we have to do, is attach that stainless header we have. Great. Long list. Let's get started. All right, so we've dug ahead quite a bit, and we've got the front cover off, we've got the crank off, and I'm going to show you the inside here. But the inside of the cooling system is way better than our original engine. So if I can get out of the way here, but you can see how clean. I have not cleaned this or touched this at all. It is spotless in here. This is a great sign of the health and maintenance of this engine. Yeah, there's some grime and grease and small oil leaks here and there, but I mean, it's 130,000 miles, what do you expect? But that's insanely clean. And when I come to the water pump, this is the one that was just in there. It's original. It says Subaru on it. I don't know how well you can see that right there. But the back side of that pump is really clean as well. It just looks a little marred up there on the bottom. But also, you can see it pressed here on the side. If I can show you right on the side there. I think that's where we were leaking from. But from the back side, or a weep hole maybe, just the main shaft going out too. Could be. I mean, 130,000 miles on an original water pump. So we've got that off. We've got our tension pulley off. We've got all of our timing marks lined up correctly. So it's a good sign. Now we've got them set up correctly. We're going to replace this bottom idler, which is a new one we got. The tensioner we're going to replace. We have that new timing belt as well. All that's getting thrown in here, but this is really good sign of the health of this engine. And this mating surface is nice and clean. Just wipe it off with a razor blade, put a new gasket, put our water pump on. We've got everything here with us, ready to go. That new timing belt, tensioner, that's for the AC system, but the belt and everything. And so we put these covers back on as well, get these all cleaned up since they're out. But I'll shoot some brake clean in here just to get some of this grime out of here. And this surface as well, where this is building up, but shoot some brake clean in here, get some of this out of the way. That way, where that rubber L kind of S-shaped piece sits, it'll be nice and clean so I could properly seal in all the debris and clogging it up. So that's a really good sign.
1 hour later.
All right, so we've got some updates. We did the oil change, and the oil actually looks really good. We don't see a lot of flakes or moisture or anything like that in it, showing the internal health of this engine actually really good. So that looks good. So we got that fresh oil in there, new filter. We've also got those new pulleys on. Those idler pulleys and tensioner pulleys are on. We've also got the crankback on, the pulley. We've got those covers on. We washed those covers to make them look a little bit better. So the next thing we're going to do is jump underneath. We're going to add the fluid to our transmission, our gear oil, and then we're going to start reattaching our CV axles. A couple of the bolts might be bad, so we might have to go to the store and pick up some more of those, but hopefully we can use most of them, get them cleaned up because they were pretty greasy. So we're going to hop underneath, start getting that assembled, and then we'll be able to fire it up. We still got to put in our headers, so it's not so loud, but we've got to attach those, and coolant, and then after that, we need to chase down our fuel pump relay. For some reason the relay clicks, but no power is getting to the pump. I'll do a continuity test and we'll check for that as well. So many things to do today, but it's getting done. You know, that helps.
The next day.
All right, so it's the next day. Daylight got away from us and we were doing so much with the CV axles, and I built those wrong initially, so I had to go back and rebuild those. So that was a lot of fun. Greasy, horrible mess, but they're fixed. We also got our clutch cable installed, our throttle cable is installed, so everything is put together now as far as I can remember. Oh, and our fuel line, our fuel wire, our fuel pump relay was clicking but not giving power. It's because the solder that I had made actually was broken when we removed the old engine out. So everything is back assembled the way it's supposed to be. The headers are on, all that good stuff. So what I want to do is I want to bring the bus back out. It's a nice, way better weather day today, much warmer. And we're going to bring this out. We're going to fire it up and make sure everything is good to go. And then I think we might do a little up and down the driveway if everything's working correctly, which will be really cool. So let's get it out. Let's make sure we do a double check, make sure everything is done correctly. Everything's nice and tight where it's supposed to be. And we'll see if we can get its own power for the first time in, I don't know, a long time. Let's get it moving. Alright guys, so the bus is out. What I want to do is do a little bit closer look of everything we've been working on. I've been giving you kind of a general overview, but not really necessarily specifics. We're going to pop the top here. I'm going to give you a little bit better of a walk around and show you what we've been working on here. So we'll start from the front. We took the covers off and there's just a few 10mm bolts that hold those on. We're missing one side, but I know where to get one, so I'll get a replacement for that. We put our new timing belt on. We have our new tensioner on that's under here. Our bottom idle pulley is new. Our new water pump is on. So all that was installed. And this engine actually came with the AC compressor, which is really nice. We just don't have it attached right now. I don't run it. Want it to run dry, but we filled up our coolant system. We reattached our fuel lines. We have our intake boot with our mass airflow sensor on it. We have our OBD2 reader thing. Where is it? Oh, right here in front of me. This. So we'll have that there. It'll tell us our RPMs and engine health. I also have our throttle cable attached. You might see this return spring here. Now this is just kind of crudely hooked up for now, but this is actually a 95-pound rated braided steel line. And I just took the little barrel nut off the end of the factory one and shaved it off and pulled it off with some locking pliers, put it on there, and actually tack welded this steel braided line into it. And it works really well. Nice, good on the pedal. So it's going to work for now until we can come up with a more permanent solution. We still have a feed wire for our ignition switch, so we just turn the ignition on here directly and then we start it from the front. But everything is mostly where it was originally. Just have the wires kind of tucked here to the side of the fuel tank for now. And everything is plugged in. We got those headers back on, going underneath here. Engine mounts back on, of course. Headers are on, nice and square. CV axles are in. We do have the fluid in. Our clutch cable is installed. Again, that throttle cable as well. So it's looking pretty good for a test. Everything is here and ready to go. The only thing we don't have on is our vehicle speed sensor. The little orange thing up there. We do not have that attached yet. We've got to make a little bracket to read off of the CV axle bolts. So that'll take a little fabrication, but nothing crazy. We still got to attach our O2 sensor as well. But once we get more exhaust pieces, that'll come more to fit in right around there. So we've got it all installed there, and seems like it's not a whole lot, but when you're doing a complete swap out, swap in, reattach everything, all the wires and plugs, and it's a mess. But we've got it all reattached. So what I want to do is fire it up, and we'll see if we can get this going up and down the driveway. We did attach our shift linkage rod on the bottom to the back of our transmission, so we'll be able to put it in gear and get this thing moving. It's going to be really loud with just the open headers, but it's what we got. So let's hop inside. We're going to try and remove all of these huge amounts of tools. I mean, the garage is a huge mess, and this is probably the messiest I've ever had it, but we're going to get those off. We're going to put them in the garage for now. We're going to close that hatch and fire it up, let it come down to an idle, and see if we can get it to move. All right, so we are in the driver's seat of the bus, and it is definitely echoey. All this tin making it sound like I'm at a soda can or something. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back there and manually hit the switch, the ignition switch on. So we're gonna turn on the computer and the ECU. We'll come up here, we'll fire it up. Then we're gonna wanna get it to idle a little bit, idle down, make sure that everything is okay and not going crazy. And then we will go up and down the driveway. So let's go hit that switch. All right, so we got the parking brake on. Make sure we're in neutral. So loud. Well, that's disappointing. That's better. I think it's trying to find idle. Looked at our scanner. Yeah, we only have codes for no tune sensor, so I think it needs to learn the idle. So when it settles down, I'll bring it back. Alright. You hear the fuel pump. We'll definitely need to fix that, but you can see how much better the idle is. We're looking at about 780 to 825 RPM idle. So we're gonna put our foot on the brake. We do not have boosted brakes yet. We have to run a line from some sort of fitting we can find on the intake. All right, so we're gonna go on the clutch. We're gonna go first gear, we're heading right into first, and we're gonna slowly ease off and see what we can get out of it. Moving. Oh yeah. Great timing, all the school buses are coming out. We will not be taking this to the street. Down, over, and down. Let's see if we can go in reverse. Oh, our window rattles pretty bad on the sliding door. Oh, we're moving. Down to a nice idle. Let's go to first again. See if we can give it a little bit more gas. A little bit better. Nice and easy for right now.
That's what she said.
And back. Or not. Oh, okay, there we go. Definitely have to adjust the clutch. Not bad, not bad. Alright, one more time for good measure. Let's give it a little bit more of the gas. It gets up. At least for first gear. Not bad. Our brakes are pretty good. Helps when it's all brand new parts. Pull the handbrake. Now we gotta go turn it off. All right, let's do a check. Make sure we're not leaking anything. Hope not. So how about that for a first up and down the driveway? Got a little bit of, you know, practicing to do with this different kind of style clutch than we're used to, you know. In the Fiat, it's a little different, but let's do a systems check. Make sure we're not leaking anything. I don't see anything going wrong here underneath. Look at that. Not a drop of anything. So good.
Oh God, it's so good.
No leaks. This side. Definitely have to hang this up. Probably gonna do that on the engine mount over there. Just do a riv nut and screw it in there, help hold this up. Yeah, no leaks. What a relief. I was really stressed about this thing leaking or blowing a radiator hose or who knows, you know, because what, 48 hours later, we have a running engine from where we were before. Much better. Well guys, that's gonna be the end of this episode. We went from utter disaster to a smoking, cracked or warped head, high idling, massive vacuum leak somewhere we couldn't chase down, to pulling it, putting in this new engine we found on Marketplace, and plugging it in, reattaching everything, hooking it all up, to driving down the driveway in 48 hours. What an absolute madness of 48 hours it's been, and I just... mind is blown. We've been holding on to this bus for a little over a year now almost, and we've just been watching it sit in the garage and sit and sit and sit, and now finally it moves on its own power. This is a huge step forward for the project. The next thing is getting it out of first gear, so I think that's going to be next episode. Is we're going to take this on the road, not far granted, but we're just going to go down, you know, hit the cul-de-sac, come back and see if we can get out of second gear. Of course, keep it in neighborhood speeds, nice and safe. Definitely not doing that right now with kids all coming home from school and school buses, and you know, don't want to risk it. So make sure you guys are following us on social media. We've got Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you guys are following me there. You can also send me an email at garagetimetv@gmail.com. I love hearing from you guys, your pictures, your project, what are you working on? We also have a Facebook group. So if you want to join that group, it's small right now, but we are slowly growing, where you can share your projects, tips, advice, any questions. That's a really good way to get a hold of me directly, and I'll answer you there. We also do still have lots of drink sleeves still available. They're only $5. It's a really good way to support the channel so we can get parts for this old girl, so we can keep her rocking and rolling and keeping her on the road. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. It means so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps the channel so we can continue to grow, to keep working on cars like these. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you on the road this time.